Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're looking at a 2026 IONIQ 9 in the performance calligraphy design trim level. Now this is an all-wheel drive vehicle, and we're actually going to look at two different exterior colors. The same trim, same features, but the exterior color is going to be different. First, we'll look at the gravity gold matte, which I don't understand the gold part, but it's like a matte silver. I suppose if you catch it at the right angle during the sun shining on it, it might have a little tiny bit of a gold, maybe, I don't know. I just see a matte silver, which is really nice. I love it on this vehicle. This is just like one of those type of vehicles that this color combination looks great. Especially in contrast with the gloss black trim and the pixel headlight system and just in general the lights. Now it has that black strip across the front, the sides, and the back. Now on these, on the higher trims, this part right here is body colored. And some of the lower trims, that'll be separate, kind of, I'm not sure what that's for. I guess to break up the height. I'm not really sure. And it has that sloping back. And then the taillights are awesome. But yeah, this color is great. I really like it. I don't personally need a third row, like a 3-row SUV. So typically I don't really care for the additional size and additional weight if I don't need it, right? So it's just like, you know, most 3-row SUVs, I don't really enjoy driving too much because it's just too bulky, too cumbersome and all that stuff, too large to park and all that. Usually. But this vehicle, with the turning radius and the level of control you have over the acceleration, the braking, everything, it's just a pleasure to drive. So I can just, let me go ahead and turn on the camera here so you can see, hopefully. You can see the turning radius. So let me just cut the wheel, and it's like you can turn around in a very small area, relatively speaking, considering this is a 3-row SUV. I'm already turned around in a small area. So this makes parking, backing up, you know, everything easier in general. And because it doesn't have the, you know, engine and all that stuff in the way, it's able to cut those wheels really sharp. Typically, this level of maneuverability is only possible with a all-wheel drive or all-wheel steering vehicle where the back wheels steer as well. But this one is just really nice. It's easy to drive, just in general easy to drive, but the ability to have that turning radius is excellent. So that takes away the problem of driving a vehicle that's large and cumbersome. It's nimble, it's fast, and it's able to, you know, zip around in tight areas. So, you know, it's like you're not even driving a 3-row SUV, you're driving a, you know, just a moderate type car, basically, is what it feels like. Excellent camera systems, the blind spot cameras, top-down 360, all that stuff, even the rear view camera. And the acceleration is responsive. You just the slightest press of the pedal, you can accelerate fast in a small area, and then you can slow down fast with the regen braking and get the precise speed that you want without, you know, blowing past the speed. You know, like typically an engine has to rev up and shift gears and all this stuff, and by the time you get all revved up and shift up, then it's like, oh, you're blowing right past the speed limit. And then you gotta slow down, and it takes a second to slow down. You know, this one is like very precise. Speed up, right at the speed limit, let off of it, you're there. You know, there's no drama, just acceleration and control. The ability to have a, you know, full control with the accelerator, you know, and very responsive. So like say, gas vehicles, you have like this lag, you know, if you've ever used like a computer or a cell phone or some kind of electrical device where you're pressing a button and it's like you wait a few seconds, then it you know, catches up with you, and it's like this significant lag. It becomes so annoying, and it's you know, not fun, right? But with gas vehicles, it's like you've become so used to the lag that you just don't even think about it. But when you get into a electric vehicle and drive it for a while, and then you go back to a gas vehicle, it's like just lag at the city, and it's like really annoying because it starts to stand out. You realize, wow, I could not believe how much of a lag there is between hitting the accelerator and actually going. You know, you hit the accelerator and it's like, wait for it, and then by the time it revs up and shifts and all this stuff, then all of a sudden it starts to go, and then it let off the accelerator. Well, the engine's still revving, and then it has to slowly come back down, and so there's this significant disconnect between what you want to happen and what it's actually happening. And this is a lag, it's a lag. So with, it's not just, it's all basically, most electric vehicles have this high level of responsiveness to the accelerator pedal and everything. But yeah, it's a fun to drive vehicle. And the fact that you have a 3-row SUV with the amount of space that you have back here, even if you never use the third row, it's worth it just to get the second row space. Because it's like bigger than a minivan. It's very easy to get in and out of it. There's lots of room. Everything's well designed and very usable and enjoyable to use. It looks good, it feels good, it's comfortable. Just a well designed vehicle overall. There's a few things that I would improve, but other than that, I mean, like anything, there's something. Now, there's just very small amount of things that I would improve on this vehicle. I mean, they really did a great job. Of course, lowering the price, if that's even possible nowadays, that would be great. But, I think it looks pretty good. It has an interesting look, and it's unique. It stands out. I like the lighting that it has. And the way the lights look and the style, that retro future style that it has on the exterior. Anyway, the interior is very, very, I don't know, it's modern. There's not like a retro future interior. It's very future in interior and usable. That's the thing. Vehicles have to be usable. You can't just rely on just aesthetics. You have to be able to get in the vehicle and it doesn't impede what you want. In this vehicle, things are designed in a way, for the most part, to facilitate, the usability of the vehicle. Like all the camera systems is one example, and the placement of things. So where the ergonomics of it, and also the customizable, to be able to move this center console forward and back, and just the placement of things on it, and the things that are within reach and within sight are well done. The power delivery on the all-wheel drive system is primarily the rear wheels. So there's 0 torque steer. So when you accelerate, hard acceleration. So let's say we'll go to sport mode here. Nobody around right this second. And accelerate. There's no torque steer whatsoever, and most of the power goes to the rear wheels, and it feels like it's glued to the ground. It has that low center of gravity, and it has really good traction. And but it does lift up the front end quite a bit. I mean, it's a large, heavy vehicle, so it does, when you really put down the power, it makes the vehicle jump for sure. But that's in sport mode. In your normal drive mode is fine. You have great acceleration and very responsive pedal, and braking is great too. So it is kind of a heavy vehicle, so you definitely want a good braking and everything. And yeah, I haven't even had any problems with it, like on wet, slippery roads and stuff like that. It's been fine as far as no spinning tires or anything. The traction control works well, keeps you going and accelerating fast without spinning wheels or anything. So yeah, just normal acceleration is satisfying, even in normal mode or anywhere. And yeah, just very stable feeling too at any speed. The high speeds, it's just very solid on the highway. Going high speeds, no problem. It just feels like you're not going that fast, really. But yeah, it's a pleasure to drive, and hadn't really found a area of this like its weak spot, really. Especially considering, you know, its price range and stuff. I guess you can say there's some stuff like the low beams on the headlights. You know, I mean, they could, if you really go get really hair splitting, you can say, well, you know, that's a little bit lacking, the low beams on the headlights. But really, the way everything's laid out, the way it's designed, the way it looks, there's just so much positives. So yeah, it's one of those type of vehicles. If you're really not sure, like if you've never driven an electric vehicle for one thing, then that's one thing where you kind of have to experience it. I can't really explain it to you. It's a different type of. It's just a more, you know. It's just a better driving experience all around. Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina, visiting Parkway Hyundai, and I'm checking out a 2026 Hyundai IONIQ 9 full electric vehicle. It's an all-wheel drive in the performance calligraphy design trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 285/45 Hankook tires wrapped around 21-inch alloy wheels with a gloss black finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors on all four wheels. The name of this color is Sage Silver. Very, very impressive color when you see it in person. It's like a matte, it's not super glossy, and it just looks amazing. Very impressive. Looks better in here. Out in the sun it looks great, but in this soft light, you can really appreciate that matte finish. This is a very futuristic vehicle. Check out the front end, completely smooth with just this full enclosed grille here. The radar adaptive cruise control is integrated there as well. The camera is in the very center, integrated nicely in a perfect position there in the center. Then it has the pixelated lights here that goes from one side to the other, looking really nice. Large pixels, so that way they stand out from a distance. Then you have these little accent lights here as well. Looking nice. Now the headlights are these vertical stacks of projectors. So you have a combination of the body color, gloss black. This is all a clear material here, so it's all smooth. You can take a cloth and just wipe the whole front end. Real easy to clean. You have some subsurface pixels there as well, just for accent behind that black, or behind that kind of like a smoked plastic there. Parking sensors integrated nicely. You have some active grille shutters that'll open up when the vehicle needs cooling. But yeah, more kind of futuristic, minimal design here in the front, emphasizing the width of the vehicle as well as the height. So yeah, looking very unique and futuristic. You see the lines here on the side, contours. It even has this little separate piece right there going on. Thought that was kind of interesting. I guess it breaks up the height right there, I suppose. Then you have that gloss black strip that extends from the front here to the side, and there at the base of the door as well, all the way to the back, you know, emphasizing the length of the vehicle. So it has body colored handles and side mirrors, and then up here you have the pillars all gloss blacked out to kind of solidify that glass, and then it has like this chrome strip on the base and then extending there to the top. And it has like this swooping down kind of aerodynamic shape to the back. So yeah, even though it's a relatively, good size SUV. It kind of, the contour and everything makes it look sporty and futuristic and not like a big brick, basically. It looks really good. This is what the key looks like, and it's a full proximity key. Lock, unlock, remote start, panic button here. Here on the edge you have the ability to open up the power lift gate. You can open up the front trunk there, and then you have the buttons to move the vehicle forward and back, basically. Once this remote started, you just press and hold those buttons and you can actually move the vehicle. Will straighten the wheels first, and then it'll move the vehicle forward and back. I've demonstrated that on several other Hyundais. It's not a new feature, but it is on this one. The way the handle works, it pops out when you approach the vehicle. It senses you and pops out. Normally it's flush in, and then there's a sensor right there for locking the door there. But generally, you can set it to where it just unlocks when you approach the vehicle. The doors go all the way to the very bottom of the vehicle, and it covers up the entire threshold. There's even a seal at the very bottom. So it covers up that whole threshold area. It's actually double sealed for keeping it clean so you don't get your clothes dirty when you get in and out, but also noise and all that kind of stuff as well. Check out this interior, very impressive. So it has like this white and dark design going on, and you have these little perforations there in this material, and it kind of fades up into kind of like a scattering motion there, or a scattering design. It looks really good, very impressive. This is all soft touch surfaces here, 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 kind of like a vinyl material, very easy to clean and everything. There's a ambient light here on the handle, and then this full handle right here, you can grab it anywhere along there to close it. You can also put your cell phone there, like a little pocket. You have larger pockets here at the bottom. And the cool feature is the use of translucent plastics. So this is like one of those examples of a translucent plastic used. It has the Bose premium sound system, which sounds great. There's one of the speaker grills. But yeah, very impressive. Somewhat minimalistic, but also, stylish. It's very artistic, I guess. It looks really good. Very, very unique. So I have the IONIQ 9 badge there in the threshold. Now the seats are heated and ventilated, and then you have four-way lumbar adjustment, as well as up, down, tilt the back, and then this is a leg support there. So you can lift up and hold your legs like a recliner, basically. You can recline it and get comfortable. Four-way lumbar adjustment. Really nice looking seats. You notice it has this, so it has like a white perforation design here, and then it transitions to a more linear design here, emphasizing the height. Looking really nice. And it's of course two-tone, where you have dark surface up there, light surface at the bottom. And they're comfortable seats, and they look good and this unique. The floor is almost completely flat. It is completely flat. So you got plenty of leg room, and then you have basically the full part right there tilts up like a footrest, basically. The glove compartment, this is all kind of like semi-soft, I guess, but not really. But this opens up. This is the glove compartment, and this is the release for it right here. It's non-locking, so you release it there, and it has this quick access spot, and then it has this large, huge open compartment here. Let me get all this stuff out so you can see, because this is pretty impressive. You can put like a full stack of books in there, and then you have this quick access spot here. And then you have a secondary, a little shelf right here for putting stuff. So you can put stuff there. And then this is kind of like recessed here. And this kind of looks like a metallic design, sort of like a galvanized type metal or something going on. Dash is a soft touch, non-reflective surface. So the opening is great. The swing of the door is great. The height, the seat off the ground, the seat based on the ground, basically, it's very easy to get in and out. You're not bumping your head, plenty of room, very easy. That's one thing that I really appreciate, vehicles that you can get in and out easily. Here in the back is ridiculous because it's so much better. Look how much wider and bigger that doorway is. It is huge. It's almost like a minivan. It is big. It's like a minivan space getting in and out. For one thing, you have a large door. Second thing, you have the swing of the door is nice. It goes all the way out here. Yeah, this is very impressive. It's crazy how nice this is. And look at that door. It's huge. And it has a lot of the features there in the front. They're not skimping on anything. We even have privacy glass, but you also have a full shade that extends up as well. You have the cup holders here in an ergonomic position, right where your hand would be while you're sitting down. Full, place to put some stuff, but also a handle there. More of that translucent plastic. And yeah, you have that kind of green interior matching the outside. IONIQ 9 seal plate there. And these seats are basically captain's chairs, powered, and they have a recline function with a leg support there. So you can adjust that separately. You can move the seat forward and back, tilt the back. Car seat attachments are easy to get to. These are heated and ventilated seats back here as well. And they basically have the same design, where you have those linear pieces there. And yeah, they feel good, they look good, comfortable, a lot of functionality. The back of these front seats have a pocket that you can pull out and look into. I like that. Once again, completely flat floor, lots of legroom, even with the front seats all the way back, you still have plenty of legroom. And you have this area right here where you have the climate control. You have the ability to access this compartment here, like that. Now the driver can access it from the front as well. But let's say you're back here, you can access it here. And then it has this little tray that you can take out and access some stuff. But you notice there's space underneath it. And that space underneath it is this drawer right here. So you can pull that out, push some stuff there as well. So yeah, pretty cool center console. There's USB-C charge ports here and here. The driver can control this seat right there. The headliner, you can see it has these lights here, has climate control vents. This is a suede headliner as well, looking nice. And has a full panoramic sunroof, front and back. Very comfortable seats back here. Lots of room and easy to get in and out of. Really like this kind of like metallic silver they got going on here and there. Now, if you want to access the third row, you can use this button here, or there's another one there on the seat here. Either way, it's going to do the same thing. You press that button, and it's basically going to move up and basically spoon itself to the front seat as close as it can. And then you can go this way to the third row. And the third row seats are have a fairly decent height off the floor. So even if you're tall, like an adult basically, sitting in the third row, your knees are not going to stick too far up in the air, unlike some other vehicles. It does have the car seat attachments on both the back seats, latch system. There's USB-C ports here, cup holders. There's some ability to power the seats as well. Backlit buttons there. Headrests flip up. That's what the way they would be typically if you had passengers back here. But yeah, looking good. On this passenger side is the charge port right here. So you just press right there, it opens up, and this is the Tesla style North American charging standard. So it's real easy to find a place to charge while you're on the road and find a fast place to charge as well. Under the hood is a storage compartment. And this is where you can find the charge cable in this particular case. But there's a fairly substantial amount of room here. There's a light as well. You have a tire mobility kit, and then a charge cable, emergency release. Unlikely anybody's going to fit in here to accidentally get in here. But it does have the ability to lift this up. These little mats come out and you can clean them and put them back in. But you also have the ability to access the 12-volt battery here, which is very important to know where that is and how to access it with electric vehicles. Brake fluid is under that cover. Refrigerant for the air conditioner is behind that cover. Coolant is behind that cover, and then your windshield wiper fluid is here. So that's where you would normally lift the hood for that, as far as maintenance goes, other than accessing this compartment. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, you can see it kind of swoops down. It looks like it's, I don't know, it's really interesting the way that swoops down. style. And then the taillights, man, these are really nice. Large pixels. They go in this vertical fashion, and then it has this here at the top as well that completes it for your brake lights. And then turn signals are over here. Very, very impressive. Large pixels. It gives it that futuristic, kind of retro futuristic design. And everything's kind of smooth back here. I can imagine this vehicle will be very easy to clean. Everything is smoothed out, contoured, aerodynamic, looking good. I like the way even the name IONIQ is flush in, integrated, kind of like an inlay here on the back. So there's parking sensors back here. Right in here is your reverse light. It's kind of interesting, pixelated as well there in the center. Then you have reflectors here on the bottom, once again pixelated. Now the camera systems are right here, so you can see the backup camera, and then right here is the rear view camera. And there is a windshield wiper hidden up here. It swings down. Do a good job of hiding that. And then to open up the power liftgate, you just press right here. Or you can of course use the key as well if you like. All right, so under here is a hard touch surface. And if you have all the seats occupied with passengers, this is the cargo space, which is great. I mean, this is fine. You could definitely go to the grocery store, whatever. Golf clubs, sporting equipment, most everything can fit back here. I mean, this is good. This is substantial. So on this side, there's a pretty nice looking light. There's one on each side, but it looks pretty good. I'm imagining it'd be good at night. Now it has a 12-volt power supply and also the ability to set the height here on the liftgate in case you want to limit it. And here on the right side is some the buttons for powering these seats up and down. It's really nice to be able to control them back here, right in that one spot. And then you have a power inverter. Now it's only 15 amps. That's pretty good. That's the same as what's in a house. So 125 volt, 15 amps, 3-prong. So yeah, that's like what you find in the house. You can make a cup of coffee or something back here if you wanted to. Pretty cool. Now under this floor, there's some additional storage here. So you can put some stuff. It even extends here on the side as well. That's mostly for like if you had a shade, you can store it under the floor in this area here. You can put your tire inflator kit back here if you like to. And it has this little hook, so you can lift it up and hook it on the seat or whatever, on the headrest or whatever, to hold it up for you. You know, it's all right. I mean, I would prefer if this like had some, you know, like friction holding it or something instead of having to rely on that. Now you can fold this seats down. It's a 50-50 split back here, and then of course 50-50 on the second row. So it's very easy to add a lot of cargo space back here while still maintaining passenger space. So you can fold down one or the other, or you can fold everything down and have a huge, huge wide open cargo space back here. Lowering the power liftgate, you just press this button, or you can press that button. It'll lock the vehicle after it lowers it, but pressing that button just simply lowers it. Comes down slowly, safely. The inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. You have a massage seat function, 2 presets for the power seat, child safety locks here, and then you have the power windows, which are one touch up and down, laminated glass here in the front. Rear glass is laminated as well, and it goes all the way down, all the way up, all the way down. Nice, they go fast too. Door lock controls, side mirrors. You also have a power folding function for the side mirrors as well. You can power fold them in. These are heated side mirrors, and they also have the blind spot detection system, little indicators right there. So the driver's seat has the recline function here, and then it has the ability to separately, you know, control the leg support basically. You can go back, forward, tilt, up and down like a dentist chair. And then you have 4-way lumbar adjustment. You also have side bolster adjustments here. That's what this little knob right there is for. So yeah, a lot of functionality, and just basically plopping in the seat. It feels so good already. You don't even have to hardly adjust it. You just pretty much comfortable in any position. To the left of the steering column, there's the ability to open up the charge door. open up the front cargo area, the rear cargo area, power lift gate, and then this is for traction control. You can turn it off, default will be on. Dimmer switch for the interior gauges, and then you have electronic parking brake. There's a fuse box behind that cover there. Has a power tilt and telescoping steering column as well. Depending on what trim you get, you can get either 311 miles to a charge or 335 miles. The lowest horsepower is 215 horsepower at the base trim, 258 pound-feet of torque, and that's a rear-wheel drive vehicle. Now with this trim, it's 422 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque in an all-wheel drive system, which gives you 311 miles of range. Really impressive. Now it has a 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds for a 3-row SUV. The heads-up display is clear, easy to read, it's functional, and it's basically the same Hyundai heads-up display, which works great, that I've shown in many different vehicles. And it gives you relevant information, it's clear, and it doesn't just overly distract you with unnecessary clutter, basically. I'm sitting in the driver's seat, and I have the driver's seat all the way down and all the way back. It can give you an idea of the potential legroom here. And I'm 6 feet tall, and it's definitely too far back for me to drive. I would need to pull it up quite a bit. So if you're over 6 feet tall, should have no problem driving this vehicle. So you can see the accelerator, brake pedal, lots of space there. Just wide open area here. And to the left, there's lots of room here. Lots of room here. It's just wide open. It's great. So the steering wheel, it's a two-tone, leather wrapped, stitching there on the inside. Looks good, feels good. It has like the silver accent here, illuminated H in Morse code here in the center. It has regen paddles here in the back, so you can adjust on the fly the regen system. And it has the ability to have an automatic function, which I really like, and then you have different levels of automatic. But me personally, when you put it in automatic, so you can see right there, level 1. So level 0, press and hold it, it goes into an automatic right there. So it does a good job of just automatically adjusting the regen based on your driving conditions. So I usually just leave it in automatic. So here on the left side of the steering wheel, is the cruise control, and it has this one button. You just press that, it sets it and turns the system on at the same time, so it's great. And then you can adjust the speed here, resume, and pause the resume there in the center. You just press in on that toggle switch. You can set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you here. Lane keep assist system is here. Now this pages button and this little scroll wheel and OK corresponds with the screen. We'll get to that in a minute. Here on the right side corresponds with your radio. So you have your volume for the radio, change to the tracks, change your audio source using that mode button. You have a voice recognition, one single button for answering calls and hanging up, and then you have this button, which is a customizable button. You can customize what it does in the screen. Windshield wiper controls are here. It does have an automatic rain sensing function as well, and that's for the front and rear. And then the turn signal is here, but also has a headlight switch. And when you turn it, it shows up here on the screen and it shows you what you're doing. I usually just leave it in automatic. But down here is a non-traditional shifter, basically. There's the start button for turning it on. And then you have this toggle switch right here. So let's go ahead and put it in reverse by tilting it back like that. Two things will happen. One is their parking sensors will pop up, but then you have this really great camera system. So you have the view here in the back, and which you can change. You have this view, that view. Take the vehicle out and just see the tires, or here the full back view here. That's the more traditional view. And then you have the top down. It's very accurate. It looks really good. And if there's anything around, the parking sensors will let you know on the screen there where it is. So that's all good. Now when we put it in drive, tilting it forward like that, you can see it shows the front view. Then you have these different views here, here. I like the way you can see the front tires there, and then the super wide view there in the front. But that's kind of the default view. It also has this view, so you can see the vehicle and kind of like a natural view around it for the most part. It's kind of neat in certain scenarios. You can adjust it. All right, to put it in neutral, you just pull it back gently and hold it, and it'll go in neutral. To put it in park, you just press here on the end, and that'll put it in park. So yeah, that shifter is really nice. I like the way it's non-traditional, it's out of the way, and it's very easy to use. Speaking of cameras, when you put the turn signal on, it has a blind spot camera. There's the left side, and then there's the right side. So yeah, that's just so convenient. So you can see if there's a vehicle in your blind spot, but also if you're making a turn, you can watch out for lines or curbs or whatever, or potholes or whatever it is that you're watching out for. That with that camera system is great. In addition to the blind spot detection system, it has that as well. So here is the basically gauge cluster, and it shows a digital speedometer, last speed limit sign you passed, outside temperature. Here on the right side is your range, and then a charge, basically a meter as you drive, and it'll show you if either using power or regenerating power. It shows your battery percentage here. This is the odometer, and then status of your regen there, what gear you're in, and stuff like that. You also have information there in the center. We'll get to that in a second, because you can press this button and you can get different information here, and you can also scroll up and down and get more information this way. On the screen there's different views. So right now we're in the modern view, but we can go to the simple view and it'll look like that. And then there's also a classic view, which looks like that. It looks like traditional gauges, basically. And then you have style A, style B, and style C. And then you have simple, style C, style B, and style A. And then the modern look, you have style A, style B, and style C. So yeah, all of them are really good. I kind of like the modern look because I like a digital speedometer, and yeah, and the little red, it looks pretty cool as well. So yeah, there's different ways you can customize it. Right here is a little driver monitoring camera as well. Now if you can see the ambient light shining here, and also you can see it shining over there as well, and it's on the doors. Hopefully I'll be able to do a night video one day on this vehicle. Okay, so here's the screen. It's pretty much the same Hyundai screen you find in any other vehicle. And there's the navigation map. And then whatever your radio's doing, it has the satellite radio, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Bluetooth, and all that stuff. Phone projection, which is the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You can record memos, adjust your seats, find out weather, you set up the vehicle, sports, additional features here as well. But this right here is important, the EV part. So this right here shows you your battery percentage, where the nearest charge port is, how far you can drive with the climate control on, and then how far you can drive with the climate control off. So it kind of gives you some quick stats there. Now you're able to go in here to the settings, and you're able to go into a utility mode. So if you want the climate control to be on and stuff like that, and you leave the vehicle on, you can turn it to utility mode. So you have these different things. It also has the ability to recondition a battery in the wintertime. You can do that as well. Then you have your charge settings here. You have AC charging settings, charging limits, and then you have vehicle to load. In other words, you can basically share power with, there's an adapter actually that plugs into the charge port, in which you can basically serves as a power inverter, and you can use the energy from the vehicle, and then you can basically adjust how low that'll allow the vehicle battery to go to, is basically what it means. You have a pull down here at the top. You have passenger talk. Since it's a 3-row vehicle, you can talk. If you turn that on, it basically projects your voice to the rear speaker so they can hear you. That's cool. And then you can set up different profiles here on the left side. So yeah, so there's kind of a quick rundown of that screen. Down here you have a physical volume knob, tuned to the stations, physical buttons here, a little bit of redundancy to quickly access places on the screen. And then your climate control is down here as well, driver and passenger temperatures, where you want the air to blow, fan speed, air conditioning, the heated seat, cooled seat, heated steering wheel, all that good stuff, front and rear defrosters here. Now the heated and cooled seats are a 3-stage. Heated steering wheel is a 2-stage, so high and low. Most vehicles just have on or off, basically. And there is USB-C ports here, 12-volt power supply, and then there's a little storage compartment here. You notice that little key right there, that's where you put your key, that's where the immobilizer sensor is. In case the battery is dead in your key, you can put it there to get the vehicle to start. You have a secondary compartment, it's a little bit harder to get to down here, but it does have one. There's an open space here in the middle that might be good for placing a bag or whatever. But let's say it's not big enough. You can grab this whole thing, and there's a lever right here, and you can move this back, and you can have this larger spot. So let's say if you have a big bag, you can put it there. If it's a smaller bag, you can pull it forward, however you want to do it. So you can move this whole thing, and it slides very smooth. So yeah, this whole thing moves. So right here you have, if you press in on this, you switch from drive mode to terrain mode. All right, so let's push it. Right now it's in drive mode, so you can adjust eco, normal, sport, or if you push in, it goes to terrain, snow, mud, and sand. So there's different driving situations, basically. You have a downhill descent there, auto hold, the ability to turn on the camera without it being in gear, which is really nice. And then the parking sensors you can turn off here if you need to, but that's the on light. When the light's on, they're on. These cup holders are poorly designed, ultimately. They could be easily fixed, but the way they're designed, these little spring-loaded arms, what they'll do is they spring down and then spring out and up. So as you put a cup in here, it slides in easy, but when you go to pull it out, it increases the pressure the more you pull up on it. Here's an example of why this is a problem. When you have like a hot liquid like this, coffee, and then these little things dig in to soft surfaces like this styrofoam cup, when you put hot coffee in there and then you take it out, it digs into the side and it gets tighter as you pull up on it. As you can see right here, it tries to dig in and gets tighter as you pull up on it. So hopefully we'll see if the cup breaks and the coffee goes flying everywhere. It'll go real easy. Because if I were to lift up fast, it would probably dig in and yeah, it's like super cringe right now. Okay, so there we go. You see that mark in the cup? It's trying to dig in to the cup and can tear into the cup. So if you have hot coffee, it can rip the cup open on the sides. So you can see it on all three sides here. It's got these deep marks in there, so it could potentially dig in and basically destroy the cup and have the coffee spill everywhere. So this is a poor design, I think, for, you know, it's not taking into account. So even like pretty much anything, it lifts up and tries to dig into as you pull up on whatever you have in there, like a cup or a bottle or whatever. So even if you have, like, say, a nice painted tumbler or something, well, it's going to dig in and slide and put pressure on the paint and scrape the paint off potentially. So yeah, it's just a poor design. You know, there's so many cup holder designs that are so much better and, you know, handle this issue way better. So that's like a big major flaw of this vehicle to me. Just so, because it's something that you interact with every single day. Like, you get in the vehicle and you put your coffee there. If it's going to be a major problem every single time, then, you know, it's not good. Now this wireless charger right here is great. Basically, even with this large case that I have, I just place my phone in there and it charges every single time. And I like the way it has a status bar there. It lets me know that the phone is in place and charging. So yeah, this is great, because some vehicles don't have a status light or they won't charge. So this one's good. Really enjoy that. Now we saw this compartment here. We can open it from the back, but here it is from the front. I like the way it's a light interior, so you can see in there better. And that removable tray gives you access to the lower part as well. Now it has a rear view mirror, but it also has a rear view camera, and it's actually dimming it right now because of the shade over the light sensor, which is back here. But you can adjust the brightness and adjust the height and all that stuff here as well. You have HomeLink garage door opener controls here. There's some tap lights. You press right here next to them and it turns them on. It has like a little dimple right there showing you where they are. And then you have all the interior lights, which is pretty cool. You can have the interior lights not turn on with the door, or you could by pressing that. That's the off button, I guess. And then this one right here is just this light right here. You have roadside assistance here. And then the visor is like a suede material, just like the headliner. Has a little clip, a large mirror with a light that automatically turns on. That's interesting for Hyundai to have. Usually they have a separate switch, but it does slide out and give you absolutely 100% full coverage here on the side. That's all looking good. Now it is a suede material for a piece that you're going to touch all the time. Something to consider. Keep your hands clean, I guess. Okay, so it has this huge panoramic sunroof with a shade that covers 100% of the light. And let's go ahead and move the shade back. It goes fairly fast. It's all the way back there. Now let's tilt it up, go forward, up. I pushed it too hard. Now let's move it back. Pull it back again. All right, that's as far back as it goes. So it doesn't open up that much. But if you press it, firmly press it, it'll go ahead and close that and close the shade all at the same time. All right, so looking at the visibility here in the back, I got a bunch of boxes back there. But yeah, you can see the headrest there and you can see the pillars. It's kind of lines up to where it potentially could be an issue as far as visibility, but with the camera system and the technology that the vehicle has, it's not really an issue, but you know, you still want to be able to look out and you have to be aware of your blind spots so you can accommodate for them basically. The headlight switch here is very straightforward. Off, automatic, parking, and the headlights here. And when you turn the switch, it shows you here on the screen what's going on. So that's nice, especially at nighttime. Now there is a dimmer switch for the gauge cluster and all the backlit buttons. You'll find it right here. And so you can just kind of adjust the illumination. And it has a little status bar, which is handy. So you can kind of get an idea of the number that you're used to, especially if you have to change it for other people, and then changing it back, you go straight back to a number, so that way you can kind of keep track of it a little bit better. And it's not just the screens, it's the backlit buttons as well. You can see the buttons all there adjust as well. So yeah. Now the headlights, or this lights adjustments here in the settings, you have the ambient lighting. You have the adjustments on the brightness. You can also change the color here, different colors. But you also have the turn signal, options here. You have a welcome light. And we'll look at all that when it gets dark. Headlight delay, high beam assist, which is your automatic high beams. And then your interior lights, if you want them to stay on even during the daytime, you can do that. Now, the reason why I have that turned on is because sometimes if it's low light or something like that, just still want to have the interior lights on, because sometimes, like the light sensor on the vehicle might think it's still daylight and then not turn on your interior lights just because of the position of a street light or whatever. So the ambient lights, you can link those to drive mode, dim and darkened conditions, which I have to turn that off. Let's go to color. So right now you can see it's purple, and you can see the light illuminating here, there on the door handle, and different places, which we'll look at it when it gets darker anyway. And let's go ahead and turn it to green. So when I start, showing the vehicle at nighttime, you'll see where the illumination is, because it's green and it kind of pops out, When you walk up to the vehicle with the key, it has the full proximity key system, and it'll sense the key at a certain point. And I have it set to where I'll just go ahead and unlock the doors and pop out the handles. And you see there's a little illuminated section there around the handle, looking pretty cool. Now, let me hit the unlock button. You notice there's no approach light or anything like that, and there's no exterior lights that turn on other than those handle lights. Let me hit the unlock button now. So now the interior lights are on, the handle lights, but once again, no approach lights here on the side and no exterior lights here. When you first turn on the vehicle, it had this little lighting sequence that it goes through, and apparently you can actually like download and buy additional different light sequences. But it just comes with a very standard one. Both the front and back has just a slight sequence when it first starts up and turns off. Now I had the parking lights on, and you can see the parking lights are basically this light strip, this basically pixels that go all the way from one side to the other. And I like the way it's large pixels so you can actually see them at a distance, and it gives it that kind of retro futuristic style. Now you also have this little patch of LEDs right here, just a whole bunch of them right here as an accent light. So not only these are functional as far as, you know, people can see you, and you know, it gets people noticing the vehicle from the front and the side, especially that light patch right there. You also have an amber side marker, which is pretty much required by law here in the front. But yeah, it looks pretty good and functional, stylish, and unique, I would say. The tail lights wrap around here, and it kind of serves as a side marker, visibility here. And right now it's all red in color. And once again, large pixels, looking really neat, really impressive. This is one of those type of vehicles I get totally obsessed with because it's so unique, and it has the aesthetics and the style that I like. But yeah, these taillights are really cool looking. Once again, they're kind of look a little orange on camera, but they're definitely a deep, bright red. And they look good. Tag light is also on now. Turn signal here on the front is amber in color. And once again, it has this pixel design. And it has them spaced out a little bit just to give a little bit more of a visibility as far as the pattern from a distance. But they're nice and bright, easy to see, amber in color, so it stands out. And it covers a big surface of the vehicle, so it's, you know, it looks like a large light basically from a distance. So, but yeah, really cool. I like the way they have them spaced out a little bit, just kind of adding to that aesthetic. Turn signal indicator here on the side mirror, amber in color. It's visible from the side and the back mostly, not so much the front. And the turn signal, wow, it's bright, amber in color. And man, is it a bright turn signal back here. Let me turn the brightness down. I don't know if that's gonna even help, but yeah, it's amber in color. And yeah, I could barely look at it, so bright, blowing out the camera. But anyways, that is really cool. It's not too low, it's kind of, and it's also tall, so that way it's visible, very, very visible, not only the brightness, but also the location and just the overall size on the vehicle. Now the third brake light is at the top of the glass, kind of filling in an entire top part of the back of the vehicle. And then the reverse lights are also integrated in the center in the middle. It's kind of disconnected from the tail lights, and it's in the middle, and it's like a pixel design, which also is bright and looks cool. So see, when I have this turn signal on the camera, the blind spot camera shows up here. It's pretty cool. Even when you're sitting still, it'll pop up. Daytime running light, parking light, basically it's not bright. You can see it's not on the ground or anything, so you're not gonna mistake that for headlights. Let's go ahead and turn on the headlights here. Kind of fade in, that's nice. And it has a unique design. Once again, it's like a pixel type situation going on here. And it's a little bit different from the square pixels. These are little focused projectors. And so you can see it has a stack. So it's an outer stack and inner stack. The outer stack is your low beams. The inner stack joins in for the high beams. But yeah, these are pretty cool. So there's a lot of little headlights there. They kind of overlap. And we still have the accent light on and everything else on. But now these are on. Now you can see the inner part is still illuminated. So you can see this right here is still illuminated, but most of the light's coming from the outer part. So it still looks even. It doesn't look like the lights are out. But as you'll see, when we turn on the high beams, those inner part is mostly for the high beams. All right, so back a little bit. Looking at the light pattern from this distance kind of looks a little bit like the Cybertruck or something, but yeah, looking neat. So when I dip down the camera, the cutoff is pretty low, about 2.5 feet off the ground. So there's a pretty sharp cutoff here. But yeah, looking nice. I love the pixel design. All right, let's go to the high beams here. See, there's the low beams. You can see the cutoff. There's the high beams. And now you can see, hopefully, that this inner stack right here is now brighter and focused up. So yeah, we got that full light stack going on right here. The cargo area is pretty well done. I mean, it has a light on each side. So we have a light here, a light here, and then we have a light here for the third row. So when the seats are up, you still have these lights here that illuminate this whole cargo area. And they're bright, and they do a good job of filling in pretty much everywhere. So since there's two of them, one on each side, there is, eliminate shadows. They're kind of in this mid position. And so if you have like a case like I do, they're able to shine in there. But if you had like a taller suitcase, it might be a little bit of an issue. You'd have to rely on this light here. Now you can see I had to go shopping before the store closed. But you can see that I got some stuff in the way. But you can see it illuminates that third row area nicely. You can see there's some backlit buttons here for the third row. USB ports, backlit illuminated. You can see them over here as well. But yeah, that whole area is nicely illuminated from that single light. Now it is bright and it spreads the light out evenly. So all the way from the side to side, here in the back. So yeah, definitely adequate, I would say, cargo lights, which is odd nowadays. Not spectacular. I mean, if it had a light up here, right, shining down, that would help out. That would make it a heck of a lot better. Also, maybe an over-the-shoulder type light up here. Two of them maybe would be nice. Then it would be in the exceptional range, but right now it's just in the adequate range. It does have backlit buttons here for lowering the power lift gate. There is a small light here in the front cargo compartment, and so you're able to see in there pretty good. But once you start putting stuff in here, it's easily blocked because it's kind of in this low position. But yeah, you see when you start putting stuff there, it blocks it, but it does have a light, and it's fairly bright. It just would be nice if it was under the hood instead of down in there, The inside of the door, there's no puddle light. Kind of disappointed there. No light that shines on the ground to show you what you're going to step in when you get out. So yeah, that's a pretty big disappointment here. All we have is the green ambient light, which we set up earlier, and there's no pocket light or anything in here. Yeah, nothing. And we just have a power window switch that's backlit illuminated. But the interior lights are nice. We have one on each side of the sunroof. And look at that. Now we do have light interior, which help out. But we have black carpet. And even down here, I'm able to see fine. Here in the center. And there's climate control and all that stuff that's backlit. But yeah, this is pretty good as far as the interior lights. Now, you do have these USB ports here that are not backlit. There's one on each side of the seat. Yeah, these adjustments for the seat, not backlit. There is a compartment here that's accessible from the front and the back, and it does have a light in it. Same thing here, has a little light in here in this compartment. And so yeah, it kind of shines in there a little bit. Not super bright, but it does a good job. Put my business card in there so you can see, because it's basically just a black compartment. But yeah, not too bad back here. Okay, so the driver's door, once again, no puddle light. So far we have no approach light and no puddle light. Definitely would, add that for sure on a vehicle like this for the price range and all that stuff. And once again, we have the backlit buttons here, no pocket illumination. We just have the ambient light here, but all these buttons are backlit. That's nice. So no floorboard illumination. But we have great interior lights here in the front too. It's just these lights here. There's 3 of them basically. But look at there. Now once again, we have light interior, but even with the black carpet there, we can still see it fine. Because this right here, this area, this slides back. So we need to be able to see here, and we can see fine there. So any position this is in, we can see the light casts pretty much everywhere that you would need to see. And you notice it doesn't shine too much here on the driver's face, which is good. We'll double check that when I actually sit in the seat though. There's some backlit buttons here. Okay, so I had the door open with the interior lights on. I'm gonna go ahead and shut them. Shut the door, turn the lights out, they fade out. Looking good. So we're left with the backlit buttons and the ambient lights here. So you can see what it looks like there in the back, here in the front. And check it out, it kind of goes around the screen, that ambient light. Looking nice here on the door. But yeah, no light in the floorboard. It's kind of disappointing. But I have my pointer here. Not done with it. I know it makes some people mad. Because there is a compartment here which is completely dark. And it's not the glove compartment. It's like a shelf here. And so that is not backlit. There's no light anywhere in there. This compartment here, there's no light. And then below that is a really large compartment here. No light whatsoever. So something to consider with this vehicle is some of these pockets that, you know, even with, let's go ahead and turn on the interior lights. Even with the interior lights, you can see right here in this surface, but under here, there's like, you know, not really visible too much. So even with the interior lights, those are not, you know, you can put stuff in there and it's not only do you have a hard time because it's way down here and it's deep in there, but it's just, there's no light there. So that's a little bit of a miss, I would say. Now, we'll go ahead and start here on the steering wheel. So the steering wheel has illuminated lights here, and that is, which everybody has talked about, this is the 4 dots, which is the H in Morse code. And this will kind of like change colors and stuff depending on what you're doing. If you're charging, it'll give you some status of that and all that. There's the screen here. And this screen, let's put it in reverse so you can see the camera system, which is great. If you can see it, it might be a little blown out. But yeah, even when it's really dark, you can see great. It's a great camera system. Same thing with the blind spot camera systems here. Day or night, they work great. Now, the cup holders are dark here and here. And I showed you this compartment has a light. It's kind of interesting. This vehicle has like this secret compartment. So this has a light. There's this tray that comes out. And then there, besides this light, you also have a secondary light here. So you can see that bottom compartment is illuminated. And then if you were to pull this tray out, there's a secondary secret compartment here, and the light shines there too. So this compartment is fairly well done as far as the illumination. It has a little light pretty much everywhere. And in addition to that, your interior lights will shine in there just fine as well. So, but yeah, the visibility in that is great. Glove compartment does have a light, and it's very adequate. So that's nice. The rear view camera has a rear view mirror, which is auto dimming, but it also has a rear view camera, which is once again great. You have brightness settings and stuff here. So we can bring that up if we want to, bring it down if we want to. But yeah, that once you get a rear view camera, it'll really spoil you because it's so convenient. And you have the backlit buttons here as well. And up here, if you can see, but we have some backlit buttons, including the button to turn on the interior lights, which some vehicles miss. But this one has it, and they're nice and soft. And yeah, when I'm sitting here in the driver's seat, these lights don't blind me. They're not overly harsh in my face. So they give me good visibility in this area. I can read something, I can look in the compartments, I can pretty much see everywhere except for that lower compartment. And so yeah, these work great. You can also have them not turn on with the door by putting that, turning that on. That's the off button basically. Now, you can just turn on this light separate. You can turn on these lights separate. So you got reading lights, and then this is kind of like a, you know, kind of an ambient light there. And then you have a visor with a light that turns on automatically, which is interesting for a Hyundai. And then it has a, this light's not overly harsh. I mean, it does shine in my face, but it's not that bad. It could be a little bit better as far as softer, but so like say it could be a light, a little bit longer light and not so pinpoint. But yeah, I've seen worse as far as blinding the driver on those type of things. Okay, so let's go through some of these colors. We had it on green, orchid green. First one is polar white. Then we have moon white. Ice blue, that looks nice. Ocean blue, nice deep, much deeper blue. I have like a teal or jade green in this case. And that was the orchid green. Then we have a yellow. Red, that's pretty cool. Purple. Violet. And then we can set up a custom color. So let's see here. What color does it not have automatically? How about a hot pink? All right, there we go. We got a hot pink now. But yeah, we're just gonna use this little color wheel to choose what we want. We can go to like an orange. But yeah, pretty cool. Let's just go back to, let's go to purple. Kind of stands out. There's the high beams, there's the low beams. And you can see on the fence the cutoff here. And then you can see there is a little notch going on somewhere in this area. And that's supposed to line up with the oncoming lane. And so we have a lot of little tiny lights. And so the overlap and the brightness and all that stuff's gonna, and also that notch is going to all be factors here. Since we don't have, we have lots of different lights, you know, they have to all be lined up, you know, instead of just like one light being lined up on each side, we have like a whole cluster of lights that need to be, you know, work together in order to give us a evenly illuminated pattern and hopefully enough brightness. It looks a little bit not that bright right now, but we'll see. Vehicle is such a pleasure to drive overall. Okay, so yeah, not looking all that bright as far as the low beams. Has decent visibility there on the side of the road. That notch appears to be lined up properly. Yeah, it's on the, yep, it's chiefly on the oncoming lane. So we're good on that. So we don't have any alignment issues as far as that goes. Now that notch is intended for, you know, like say you have a rainy road surface, wet road surface, and you know, glare shining up from that, or just variations in the road, just to help a little bit as far as not blinding oncoming drivers. Now let me just check something here. Yeah, I can't really tell. I don't know if it has the auto leveling system. It might. Try that again. Okay, no, it does not. That's the thing about electric vehicles. You can really get the front end up. All right, so it does not have any kind of auto leveling going on there. And auto leveling, all it does is like when you floor it like I just did, it basically just pushes down the cutoff. This one just, you know, not doing any of that. Okay, so we got the low beams on. It's darker down here. And I mean, I would say that the brightness needs to be improved. Now, maybe because it's an electric vehicle or something, you know, the pattern is okay, but the brightness is definitely lacking. We turn on the high beams, the brightness is a lot better because we have much more light for the high beams and joining in and adding that additional light. So yeah, I would say we have adequate high beams for sure here. All those lights do a good job of not being patchy and illuminating everywhere. The pattern is good. The distance looks fine. So I can see the trees in the distance, not like the far distance, but the medium range distance. The illumination, yeah, so the high beams basically just kind of add to the light there above the cutoff. Let's see, yeah, it does below it too. So yeah, it's adding light everywhere. So yeah, the high beams are pretty good, but the low beams are lacking as far as brightness. And you know, I would say they're not really, they're a little bit sub-adequate. The high beams are adequate. They're not like amazing high beams, but they're, you know, they look pretty darn good when you compare them to the low beams especially. So yeah, I mean, I would probably be satisfied really with these headlights, because the high beams are really where you need it as far as when you're on a dark road. But there's probably a lot of people that buy this vehicle and they live in a city and there's always street lights and stuff. So I can kind of understand where they're going as far as, you know, not putting super bright low beams, because if you're driving around at night, you don't really need lights because there's so many street lights. A real bright low beam headlight will, you know, drain the battery a little bit more. So, you know, I can kind of understand on an electric vehicle, they want to cut corners a little bit and try to give you a little bit more range. And if most people are not going to really care too much about the low beams, it's really the high beams, then you put your energy into the high beams and, you know, make those the superior light and not really, you know, worry too much about the low beams. You know, so I mean, I can kind of understand where they're going. Me personally, I would prefer maybe an option, you know, you say like, okay, I want the upgraded lights that are brighter, and I'll take the, you know, the little bit of hit on range to get the brighter lights, you know. So something to consider. You know, this is not the low trim, right? So it's got the lights you're going to get, basically. I think it's pretty much the same lights on all the trims on this particular vehicle, but yeah, low beams, you know, not all that great. High beams are adequate, not spectacular, but they're in the adequate range.
heart just rewrote the code of thought. Oblivion dressed in gray.